What's going on, everybody? This is Money Matt and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing a rebuild of the 76ers, but there's going to be a catch. Every time a player gets injured for 2 to 4 weeks or more, I'm going to have to trade them. So yeah, like I said, I will be trading every player that gets injured for 2 to 4 weeks or more. Now, I was going to do this where every time a player gets injured, then I have to trade them, but so many players get injured for only like 1 to 2 weeks or like day to day, and they're right back, that I just decided to make it, if it's 2 to 4 weeks or like multiple months or obviously the season, then they'll get traded. So another one of the rules is that I can keep the player until the end of the year and then trade him like before the next year starts or just whenever I can. And we will be doing this for 3 seasons, and let's get on to the injuries. So here we are with our first injury. It is to Tobias Harris. As you guys can see, 2 to 4 weeks, so I will be having to trade him eventually. Either I can trade him before the trade deadline, or because sometimes they're not ready yet, they'll get injured like a week before and I won't be able to trade them. So that was the case with Jimmy Butler, so I can just wait until the end of the season to trade him. And so now I'll be looking for, so right here I was able to find a trade for Tobias Harris, and I was thinking about a couple different trades. You know, I saw Chris Middleton. I thought about trading for him. That would give us a good small forward to replace Tobias Harris, but I ended up going with this for John Collins and also the Hawks' first round pick for this year. So here we are at the end of the season. Steph Curry won MVP, but luckily for us, no one else got injured after the first Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris injuries, and that allowed us to go 50 and 32. So I was feeling pretty confident when we went into the playoffs with no other injuries, because I was honestly really surprised that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid both hadn't gotten injured at all for the entire season. So that was definitely a plus, as Joel Embiid was also able to make all NBA second team and also all defensive second team, which was huge for us, because as long as Joel Embiid stayed healthy, I was feeling pretty confident about our chances no matter who we had to face. So somehow the Raptors ended up being the 7th seed, but even though they were a really low seed, I was still very worried about that they could probably take us to a really good series. But then I saw that their record was 41 and 41, and I figured that we still probably had a really good chance, as we were tied 1-1 right there. We were able to take a game in Toronto, but then they came right back and took another game. Then after this, we took the next 2 games and we were able to move on to the second round against the Washington Wizards. Again, the Washington Wizards, they had basically their same team as they had before, so I was feeling pretty confident, as their record was still only 45 and 37. Right there, as you guys can see, that's just one example of how players just get injured for just 1 to 2 weeks all the time. So I decided to make that a rule at the beginning, where it's only 2 to 4 weeks or more. So here we faced in my opinion, our first really good matchup. It was against the number 1 seed in the East, the Boston Celtics, and they were able to win 4 more games than us. But I still knew that we had a pretty good chance of winning this series, as we were able to get 1 game on Boston, and then we took both games in Philadelphia. And as you guys can see, once again, just another player getting out for 1 to 2 weeks. And we are in the finals, going up against the Houston Rockets. So this Houston team was the same as their regular team, and they had won 5 more games than us, but we were able to take a game on them in Houston, but then they took both games in Philadelphia, so that made it kind of difficult for us to have a chance in this series, as we were able to get game 6, but I was kind of looking more towards next year, since I thought it would be pretty difficult for us to come back, as they did in fact win game 6 and they won the NBA Finals against us. So here is a critical point, because we were able to trade up in the draft and also acquire Mitchell Robinson for only giving up Boban and our 8th pick this year. And with that 6th pick, we somehow got RJ Barrett, who fell to the 6th pick, and spoiler alert, he was huge for us in this simulation. Right now is when I traded Jimmy Butler for DeMar DeRozan, and I know this was kind of late, but I had to re-sign Jimmy Butler, and it didn't let me trade him for like 30 days, so yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that we did eventually get to trading him, and we continued on with the season. So another person who got injured this season was John Collins, so we ended up trading him for Derek White. Not the best trade, but we had to do it. So I would definitely rather keep John Collins, but all the offers were not that good, so I had to find something. So right here, this was our 2nd season, as we also went 50 and 32. Again, got really lucky with no major injuries other than the John Collins injury, and we also had to trade Jimmy Butler halfway through the season. But once again, we were the 2 seed, Boston was the 1 seed, and this year we were going up against Detroit, who had basically their same team, which is not a bad team, but without Blake Griffin, that they really struggled, as they were only able to go 1 game over 500. So we took the first 2 games against them, and then we went back to Detroit and beat them in both games there. So we got lucky and were able to sweep them. And once again, Toronto struggles in the postseason, as they were taken out by the Miami Heat, with a very similar team, except they had added Julius Randle to play their power forward position. So their team was again barely over 500, so I was feeling confident as we won 2 games, but that was huge for us. That right there meant that we would have to trade Joel Embiid during the season, which, I mean, I kind of knew that it was inevitable, but it still just sucked that we had to do it. So again, there's Mitchell Robinson getting hurt, so it was kind of ironic, but all these little injuries kind of were really messing with our team, like our starting lineup and all that. But despite all of that, we were still able to win the first game in Boston. But then, unfortunately, as you guys see, once again, just another small injury, but to DeMar DeRozan, it kind of ruined our chances, since we didn't have Joel Embiid or DeMar DeRozan. So in the finals, it was the Thunder against the Celtics. And the Celtics were able to beat them in only 5 games. So as you guys saw in that last playoff series, Joel Embiid did get injured. Now, it said for the season, but I just figured that it was probably a pretty bad injury, so I decided to trade him anyways for DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Knox. And here, we weren't required to trade DeMar DeRozan, but I thought that trading for Victor Oladipo would be super helpful for us, because that would kind of push us over the top as to, since this was our last season, we were trying to make a playoff. Well, we were going to be in the playoffs, but we were just trying to make sure that we had a good chance to win the championship. So here we are at the end of the third and final season. We are once again the 2 seed. As you guys can see, our team right there are many star players. We even have RJ Barrett, an incredible player coming off of the bench. And once again, just like in the first season, we played the Toronto Raptors in the first round. So now obviously we did have a couple injuries, but like I said in the beginning, if someone gets injured, I can just wait until the end of the season or the beginning of next season to trade him, because sometimes that was what I had to do. So I decided to just keep many of the players that that got hurt. So in the second round, we were playing against this insane Brooklyn Nets team. They had Zion Williamson and Cam Reddish, and they also had D'Angelo Russell. So I knew that our team was really good, but I was still kind of nervous about this game, just because of the sheer amount of talent on their team. As you guys can see, a ton of people. It was kind of like deja vu for the first 2 years, where we had a lot of just injuries to maybe not our top people, but still really important people, as the Boston Celtics did get upset right there. And so heading into the final game of the Eastern Conference Finals, that was our lineup, and the Magic somehow took game 1 against us, as they were a 42-40 win team. Somehow they were able to get the 5 seed with being 1 game over 500, and they were even up 3-2 against us. But luckily we were able to win game 6, and I decided to simcast for the last game, as it was going back and forth throughout the entire game. And luckily we got on a little bit of an early fourth quarter run, and we were able to finish out the game, as we were now in the NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz. So as you guys can see, we had a couple key players injured, including RJ Barrett, which was unfortunate, but this team, I saw it, and I saw that they were barely a mid-40 win team, and I knew that we had a really good chance, unless, of course, we got injured, which would have been ironic. But we don't sweep them, but we were able to beat them in only 5 games, as Victor Oladipo was Finals MVP for us in that series. Right here is the team that we did end up winning the finals with. It was a super good team. We got really lucky actually with how some of our players didn't get hurt at all. But yeah, we had key people like Ben Simmons, DeMarcus Cousins, Victor Oladipo, as he was the Finals MVP, and we even got really lucky with the RJ Barrett team. So yeah, this was one of the easier challenges, but in the next video I'll be going for another team. Please comment which team you guys would like to see next. Thank you guys so much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and also subscribe. And Comment what team you want to see next. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.